gathered all my books, the ones I'd started reading then, like the ones that jumped the pages. I can read when the music's on the radio. Car was warm, but again, so were the 70s. Let's take turns with a sideman. Sun was down and the clouds were rolling away. Didn't you see that light that came from over there? Didn't you see that? See it vanished in the air. Didn't you see that? See it.
What's been going on, Scotty?
Nothing. Just living 2026. You know, as we do.
Have you played since New Year's?
I haven't.
No?
I had to practice a song I hadn't played in a while.
To do this?
To do this, yeah.
Yeah. What was it like? So you did the New Year's shows with Alejandro in Chicago?
Yeah, that's a cool club. It's a real old club, but it's a place called Fitzgerald's, and I don't know. Al said that he played there with Rank and File, so
that's in the 80s,
like 79, 80 or something like that.
Awesome.
So,
how'd you get that gig?
Brent Best.
Really?
I mean, Brent. I had met Al a few times, and he was living at the Belmont in Oak Cliff.
Yeah.
And I think when he was home, he was trying to like kind of, keep himself busy, try to do different stuff, like kind of, and he had an idea of hosting like songwriters he liked that would, be interviewed and play kind of in a lobby situation. And so Brent asked me to do it, and of course I was excited to do it, and it was great. It was cool. And after we were done, he was like, "Do you know anybody else that would be good for this situation, this kind of thing?" And I knew, and it was a bit selfish. I thought, I knew Will was doing like an art show at the or like part of an art showing at the Kessler or something. And I was like, oh, well, if he's in town, why not just come and do something at the Belmont? So I told him, and it just worked out. He wasn't on tour. And so about a month, maybe like maybe a month later, we did another one with Will. And I kind of set it up, but I guess he kind of forgot that. And I got there again, and maybe he just kind of played it dumb, but he was like, oh, it's you again. And I was like, yeah, it's me again. And then we just had a good time, and we had it was a really a fun night, fun interview, fun time playing. And I think after that he said, could I, maybe call you if you wanted to play with me? And I said, absolutely. And I didn't really think anything of it. And that wasn't why I did it with Will. I didn't really expect him to do that, but so I played with him here and there. When he was in between records and in between tours, he would come and do like different shows in Texas, and just started happening more frequently. And right before the pandemic, it was kind of gearing up. And so yeah, after the pandemic, I did, or when he was kind of slowly getting back into playing, I wouldn't say after the pandemic, but during, when he could negotiate, and when people started touring again, I think I went and saw Jason at Red Rocks, and I noticed he posted a bunch of dates, and I was feeling a little bit kind of sorry for myself, because I was like, oh, he didn't call me.
Mm-hmm.
And something, and we were staying in like Breckenridge or something after the show, like a day later, and he called me, and he's like, hey, I just posted a bunch of dates. And I was like, yeah, I saw that. That's cool. I'm glad you're, he was like, which ones of those can you not do? And so that was 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of when I started to be more full-time with him. And
you make it sound, or like, to hear that story, it sounds like maybe he kind of had you slotted as a singer-songwriter, and then when he saw you come back with Will, he was like, oh, like you are a sideman too. Because I feel like a lot of people don't interchange those roles very well.
Well, I mean, the thing with Brent was, for him, I was the sideman.
It
wasn't.
Oh, okay,
it wasn't
okay,
for
okay.
me. But
I got
I
you.
should clarify that.
Okay.
So I was the sideman twice.
I got you. But even still, he sees and he's like, oh, this guy will whore himself out to anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I should call him.
Like, look at these two clowns. He'll play with this clown. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
No doubt.
Yeah. So that, to clarify, yeah, it wasn't any of my Static Diary thing at all.
Okay.
But what's funny is when I did, I was feeling a little bit self-conscious when I had finally had the record, and I think I was playing a show. I think I'd just gotten the record. I don't know if I did my release show, and I gave him one, and I was like, oh, this is it. He's not going to call me back, or something. And like about 4 days later, he was really nice. He was like, man, it was such a cool record, man. What a cool, he was so sweet about it. And it just, made my day. But yeah, so.
That's amazing. So, and you haven't missed a gig with him since?
I mean, there's been a few times, and he's done, he did this Ian Hunter thing with like the Ian Hunter's band.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how he plays with this guy, James. And hi, James. He's great. And he's been playing with Ian Hunter. He was in a band called the Bongos I don't know if you remember that band. It was an 80s band. It's a cool band. They were kind of in that Feelies world or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. But so James been playing with Ian Hunter for a long time, and he loved Alejandro, and he was like, they wanted to do like like an anniversary of one of the Moth the Hoople records.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian Hunter really can't sing anymore. He's got this tinnitus and he just can't do it. And so they asked Alejandro, and he was like, man, I don't know. He's a, big Ian Hunter fan. He's like, I don't think I can do it. And then, I think people convinced him, like, you're the only one that can do it, and so he's done stuff like that. And he's that kind of guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You love that gig?
I do. I absolutely. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Static Diary. You said it's been 10 years.
I record. I started recording it in 2016. So, and then I put it out like a couple years later. So I was just dragging my feet on it, but I did it with Britt and Weisenhower is in his place in Austin.
Yeah.
He works with Will a lot, and he
I
was in
did
a band
that.
called Monahan's, and
Did that Markham record.
oh yeah, you know
with him.
you know him.
Yeah. We didn't get to, I mean, it was really cool actually, because it was like a band record. And then he and Daniel took it and kind of did their own, magic to it.
It was
or
on
whatever.
Disintegrator, right? Or is that?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, I love the way it turned out, and I'm glad they did it that way, because it was. We were all of us working really closely together, doing our normal thing, but they were able to really do something bigger and different with it, kind of taking it away from, from us, and letting the two of them just kind of go nuts on it. And it turned out. Like,
yeah, that record's
beautifully.
incredible.
Yeah. So, and I would love to work with him again. We've run into each other a couple times, usually when I'm in Austin, and like we have just from working together in a very short time, like we're buds. We have very similar like sense of humor. I love working with him too. Yeah, how things are. Like you get into rules and shit when someone's producing you and going, okay, well look, let's, really, it's things with the drummer. I think every producer you gotta like, producer and drummer is a tough relationship to enter into. And he's just like, what would you think about recording without cymbals? And I was like, I can't. I know I hear what you're saying. I'll be good. I promise. I'm not gonna smash cymbals all over the place. And then after a little while, like we'd do a take or something, and I'd be like, permission to hit a cymbal right here in this spot. Or I think at one point I was like, I should have done a drum fill right here, and we did a punch. We liked the rest of the take, and I was like, just let me do a drum fill right here, and we'll throw it on, and we had fun.
Yeah,
sort of creating rules and breaking them.
Yeah, I think I definitely understand the cymbals. I understand it with acoustic guitars. Even then, I mean, like, I don't know, like the cymbal is part of the drum.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite recordings is the cymbal, how the cymbal sound.
Yeah.
More so than how the drum sound in a way, because if the cymbal sounds great, then the drum sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
At least. I don't know. That's my theory.
I think even when there's just a little bit of bleed and all that, the things like the reverb that might be on a vocal or on an acoustic or something like that, when you hear the drums bleed into that, there's like no one would try to get that reverb sound. No one's being like, let's set up a vocal mic in the room and have the cymbals coming in to that mic. That would be insane. But when it happens because you're cutting live, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to name names, but I know somebody else with the cymbals stuff. And I would be like, okay, look, we're going to listen to this Faces record. Now imagine you take the cymbals away from this record. Give me a break. You know, I mean, like, come on.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, as a producer, as an engineer, it is kind of it is interesting to limit yourself, and you do play things, and then all of a sudden, like you kind of you get reinverted or something, and then like the cymbals make sense to you all of a sudden, different.
I think my whole thing was I get it. I understand the sound we're going for and how we can go in and put crashes and things in later. I don't know if I'll be able to play well,
right,
like that.
We'd
spend more time trying to work around it than me just playing the cymbals responsibly.
Yeah, if you're in a live setting, it does get crazy, but same time, yeah, that's that's how it is.
Yeah. I took.
I don't think Glenn Johns says no cymbals. I don't know.
Hell no.
Okay.
I took my kid to see a show, and the volume was so perfect, and it sounded like headphones. There were no amps on stage, and even the drums, I think, were like, digital drums. They looked real, but everything was so controlled, and I mean, the mix was incredible. But there was something to the volume was nice and like at a really good level, perfect. I mean, everything was perfect in every way. And like when the guy would take a guitar solo or something, I was like, there's something that I just need from live electric guitar, and it's not happening. And I think it needs like to be coming from an amp that's a little bit too loud, and there needs to be some sort of, it's probably a visual thing where like I need to be able to see an amplifier and know that like somehow feel like that sound is hitting me in this place.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could A/B. I wish sometimes, you were like, okay, you want no bleed on anything, okay? But the coolest part of like a rock and roll experience is like when the overdrive comes on and it's bleeding through all the amp or all the mics,
Right.
and you kind of like, oh God. And then you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't want that to be outrageous, but I mean, maybe you do.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I love it when it's a little bit messed up.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Yeah.
And that was like the Centromatic record seemed to like lean into that, whether it was like
yeah, and then some.
Yeah. But I mean, that's like what was so cool about it. And I remember the first time I heard that stuff was at Mr. Gaddy's.
Mm-hmm.
I worked there. Colin Carter would play that stuff. And I remember being like, God, that sounds like the whole thing. It sounds like the whole record was like mastered through a distortion pedal or something. And it took me a minute to like get into the, the aesthetic, I guess. And I know, and that was I felt like as it went, it cleaned up in a nice way, and then I know it sounded like there was like an effort to be like, it can still be like messy and dirty and fucked up sounding, and it can be contained.
Yeah, I think that was always the goal, like how, in which direction, is it just, and when we got older, it was like, we wanted it to be more, I mean, I think we all had a different idea of maybe what we wanted totally, but like in the end, we all wanted it to be the most interesting, high fidelity brokenness of all time, if that makes sense or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like and Matt did an extremely amazing job at that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that was,
and so did everyone else was helping, produce that sound or whatever. But like,
yeah, it seems like the last couple records that it would be really cool to hear like what advancements had been made to still make the Centromatic sound.
Yeah, I mean, like the first song on the very last record we did, it's like this kind of, I don't think there's no lyrics. It's just Will kind of chanting in a way, but it's like, completely this almost blown out cymbal wash. And it overtakes the mix at some point,
mm-hmm.
in a cool way. I mean, I'm not saying like that's, but it's coming off this like chaos and like this piano rumblings and stuff. And yeah, that's it. But you can feel it like just coming up, and then like, it's just great. But it sounds like the tape is disintegrating
mm-hmm.
at the same time, so I think that's what I guess we achieved it.
I'll say.
I don't know.
How did you get involved with that? So like, I know you're on the Redo the Stacks. Like, how did you get to know, like, did Will specifically invite you into that? And it was mainly the strings, right?
I think I think I got to know Will. I already knew Matt and Mark from Adam's Farm. We also played together for a little bit here and there in Dooms UK because they were in the band early on. I feel like everybody in Centromatic did some sort of stint in Dooms UK, which is kind of fun. But anyways, so and Slobberbone, and I think Will had met me because of that, and he was in Funland, and we became friends. And you know, when he started to do the Centromatic thing, you know, we would just hang out more. And by the time he was recording Redo the Stacks, he called me and said, "Hey, I'm doing this record. Do you want to play it?" I said, "Of course," you know. So I played on a couple tracks. I played on Cannot Compete, and then since whatever that
Post-it notes.
Post-it notes, yeah. I can't. Yeah.
Violin on both.
Yeah, violin on both. I didn't do any. Will did the piano on that record.
That is really a kind of a solo record with a few things.
Yeah, I mean, Matt. I can't remember if Matt played any of the drums in that. I don't think he did. And then again, that's really fun game I play in Centromatic World is like who played drum. I usually can tell, but sometimes I can't. And I also same with the harmonies. I do probably 70% of the harmonies, and sometimes he does them. And at the end, I think people were like, "Oh, that's Will." I was like, "No, that's me."
Yeah, you sing with someone long enough,
yeah,
you start to like mimic them.
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much that's basically just continuation of. It was it's just basically a solo record, and then he wanted to start playing live, and so then he got Matt and Mark, and I think they did. I don't know how many shows they did as a trio, but they did at least 2 or 3, if not more. And then I played like maybe a couple with just Will and I, and then I started playing, and then I think that was it. I started playing in the band, and that was 1997. So. Yeah, I think that's when it started. But I think I recorded on the Redo Stacks in 96.
Okay. Yeah, it's I think, from my perspective, it was like, it was like Will and Matt were kind of the names. And then when I go to see it live, which really like brought it home for me because I liked the records, but going to see it live, and I knew Adam's Farm and I knew Funland before, but like to go and see it like all put together, I guess you were probably the one because I didn't really know Slobberbone, or at least not with you in it. You were like when I went to see them, it was like, oh, those guys are from Adam's Farm. It's Will, obviously. And then you, and you and Mark were like kind of the seasoning of the whole thing to me. Like, Will has these great songs. He's a great person to watch perform and sing and play guitar. Matt's a otherworldly drummer, also very fun to watch. And then like you and Mark being almost like doing this thing like the band where it's like this, switching off between guitar and bass and keyboards and I always like, and violin, and I always liked it when you would play like the maraca and stuff on certain tunes. And it was like, you guys really, for being a 4-piece band, kind of were like there's like a 6-piece hiding in there, kind of, with what the different things you guys could pull off and how you'd pull off the transition of, certain songs would be like, well, this song can be without bass for a long time, or, and just be drums and guitar. Obviously I like that sound. Being that I had a band that did just that. And so I came to like appreciate so much what you and Mark brought to it.
Oh, thanks.
And even now when I like listen to, like, I had Matt in here and I listened to some very old like Adams Farm stuff, and I was like, oh shit, Mark was playing guitar on a bass like way back, and like in a in like a The Who way or something. Like he's almost the lead instrument in Adams Farm. It's fucking wild to listen back and go, oh, that, he's been doing this forever. And then I love his guitar playing too.
Yeah.
That he's kind of got instead of like a lot of bass players sound like a guitar player playing bass, he sounds like a bass player playing guitar, like he almost goes the other way, which is, again,
yeah, he does.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it's pretty crazy. Like he would do, do a lot of almost chords on the bass, basically, and brought a ton of energy to those songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty wild. The other thing with I think that people liked with me and Centromatic is that it was a little different, but the harmonies with Will, because on that first record, it's like there's almost a double vocal on everything, like a harmony, like a harmony with almost the whole, like with the lines.
Yeah,
almost the melody has a harmony. I mean, like not just the chorus or anything. It's like the whole thing is like a harmony. And I remember when I asked Will, I was like, maybe I should try some of these harmonies, and he was like, I can't remember what he said. I think he was like, yeah, let's, and then I think immediately, that not immediately, but like pretty quickly, we realizing, because they were pretty high too, and like that we realized that it was working, and I think that once that kind of playing goes through your head and like how you figure out, it's like, it's like the whole thing of like completing the music or something. Once you're singing with it and playing with it, and all of a sudden, like, you start to realize all the little stuff in between.
Yeah.
And that was, to me, that was it. And then because the second record was so like kind of slower, and people were bummed out. They were like, they had reduced Jackson, they had navigational, and it was like this, like, kind of these dirgy songs and like, weird songs. I mean, people did like it too, but then they wanted us to rock, and we would, try to like play like all these songs in between, like, and then a lot of those kind of dirgy ones did rock in the end. But so that's when we kind of started the other band, and I felt like I fit in more. I learned how to be in like a real rock band eventually, but like trial by, I was just like forced into, they threw me in there, and I was like, oh no. And then you start to realize the how to kind of get on with it. But when we made South St. Gabriel, I felt like that's when I really, I'd found, like, thank you, Will, I'd found my home, and Mark and Matt. But I kind of felt like I could stretch out more and be more of that kind of player, more of could add more to the atmosphere.
Yeah.
In a way.
Had you played much bass before?
No, not at all. Like, and I like anybody, when you're 18, 19, like, you're just picking up instruments, and like, and I realized I play with all these, I just wanted to be in a rock band. So I learned enough chords on the guitar, so like when I would watch them play, I could like kind of pick up, where they are going, and that, and just kind of helped. And so that's about it. And like, I was like, that's all I knew about that. So like when they gave me the bass, at first I was like, what, but I'm so glad they did, because I realized like that might be the most important instrument, and I didn't do it justice early on at all. But I got all right at it. I would say I was like almost average, but I did enjoy it. Like, I did enjoy doing it, and then makes me, well, let me try harder.
It's, yeah, it's like a, I don't know. It's very easy to be bad at bass, but I also think when you like understand music the way you do, I think, and also when you're between Will and Matt, it's kind of like, well, how do I, it's like a bit of stay out of the way, like they're like, Matt's not like a busy player, but it's big. It's like, you definitely want to be like, let's give him his space.
Yeah. He's filling in a lot of gaps.
Yeah.
So, and it's really interesting.
Yeah. So, and then Will is like a very interesting guitar player on his own. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think it's just kind of I always dug your approach to it.
Oh, thanks.
And then like,
I got
hit a big note. Let it.
Oh yeah.
Let it go.
It was, I was Roger Waters, I wasn't his level at all, but like at certain or like, something that was, on the keep it simple.
Mm-hmm. I like those kind of players, like bass as a rhythm, almost like a rhythm guitar thing. Seems like singers do it a lot. McCartney.
Yeah.
Thin Lizzy, Phil Lynott, same thing.
Yeah, McCartney, he's pretty good.
You just got a comparison.
What was there was one of those things. I'm sorry, this is a little sidetrack. I remember when they did the piano thing at Dan's, that piano had just come from like the McCartney concert or something. And I remember the day before, like I heard that, like Dan told me that, and I was like, what? But I just kind of sat down and I started playing all the McCartney piano stuff, and I was like, this stuff is genius.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
So that piano was moved in for Jimmy Webb?
Yeah. Anytime they'd have Jimmy Webb, and then we'd have like, it was cool. And Dan would do like piano. And I only did it one time because I was getting more comfortable doing the Static Diary thing. And, but I brought in Will to, of course, and to get people there. Mm-hmm. and that was great. It was really fun. And that was one of my favorite, if not my favorite Static Diary thing I ever did.
And that was like just a duo show?
It was a duo show. I kind of wish he had played piano, but yeah. So I did a set, and then he played a few on me, and then I played a few with him at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of that thing.
Did that get recorded?
I wish it had. I wish it had. I usually don't wish that, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I bet someone's got a tape. I'm gonna find out.
But it was real cool, and yeah. And then, of course, I'm playing on the same weekend as Jimmy Webb, and it's just like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe the greatest songwriter of all time.
He'd have a claim to it for sure. Or like, yeah, to be in the conversation.
Yep, for sure.
And I don't know. Yeah, in some circles, I think Will would too.
Well, not this circle. Just kidding. Love you.
So yeah, okay.
Just
and
kidding.
Then you guys played some shows last year in Mexico City.
Let's see here. Oh, as far as just Centromatic?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So we didn't play. We did a couple South and Gabriel shows here and there, which was great. We did just like Austin, Denton. I think we did Dallas one time. But really, we didn't do anything for like 7 years, and because I think it was 21, and we did. Jason Isbell had his little festival in Muscle Shoals.
Shoals Fest, is
Shoals
it?
Fest.
Yeah,
I think it was like the third one. I don't know how many. And so, yeah. So he invited Centromatic, so we got back together, did that show. And then we said, oh, we're already back together. Let's do a few more Dans. We did a few more Dans. And then we didn't do anything. And then we played Mexico City. Yeah. And I remember like I got the flu that day in Mexico City. it was going so well, and you know, I was totally relaxed, and it was like I wasn't even thinking about anything, and then I just felt terrible. And but I had my wife's a nurse, and so she got me on who knows what, and you know, I was feeling just fine enough to play. But I remember almost laughing at some point because I had, you know, I put on the bass and Jason's playing with us, you know, and I'm just like, man, I feel horrible.
Yeah.
And I just was like, it just kind of made, I was like, and I'm in Mexico City, like this doesn't, but it was just so weird at that point that I just, you know, loved it. So yeah, that was pretty, it was great. And thank you, Jason, for having us. He tried to get us, I feel like anytime, Jason, you want us to, you know, do a destination concert, and I'm always in. I don't know about the other guys, as long as I'm free. Yeah, because you know that's a lot of fun, and
He obviously loves it, you know, and like he does a really good job of like championing Will. And I remember when I guess when it was official that the Centromatic broke up, I remember him posting something really kind, and it was, I mean, you know, I don't want to say he's like a nobody or whatever at that point, but certainly not where he is now. But it was, I remember being like, oh, well, it was really eloquent, and it was obvious that he has like the same feeling that, you know, I have, and that Ryan has, and that Daniel has. Like everyone had this deep love for this band. And we would even remember being on tour and with Daniel and playing at some place in Jackson, Tennessee. And some of the guys from like maybe one of the dudes from Waterliers
oh, nice, yeah,
was like doing sound. And I think we were like, you know, around with calling Thermatico, and like I think we sound checked with it, and the dude from that was like running sound was like, are y'all gonna really play? And we're like, no, we're like,
should have.
It needs some work. It needs a little work, but we were just, you know, a fucker. But he, like, you could tell he was like, oh, these guys are cool, and maybe like he already knew we were from Denton, and so maybe he figured there was already a connection or something. But it was like there is a legit, you know, group of or generation of people, and I think Jason is in it, that, you know, really appreciate you guys, and he could give that to anybody, and he could give it to a band who's still together, you know, or whatever, but he is selfishly, I think, is like, no, you guys are gonna be there, and by the way, I get to play with you guys, and you know.
You know, I think Jason has always been amazing. He wrote a song for Centromatic, I think, on an album. It's a real cool song, and I always made the joke, if, you know, for a while in the Drive By Truckers, you had to be like a huge Centromatic fan. I felt bad for Cooley because Mike Cooley, because I know he liked us a lot, but I don't know if he had the same sort of reverence as like Patterson, Jason, maybe Sean, even, and or maybe even Brad the same. Maybe Brad and Cooley were like, yeah, I like them, but you know,
I mean, they're all right.
I mean, they're like other people, and they're, you know, and like, you know,
I'm
messing with them, but you know, because between Patterson and Jason and Sean even, and at the time, and some other people, you know, it was they would, you know, go overboard, but it's awesome to have those kind of friends.
Yeah, and fans.
Yeah.
Well, how did the like Bennett Birch thing happen?
Same management.
Okay.
Yeah. Which was great. You know, I love that period too. I think that's kind of when I started hanging out with you, honestly.
Right.
I don't want to.
We were working
I know Grady
at Rubber Gloves.
Yeah, and we played there on a stop, and you were running sound for us.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it, like leading up to it, that Jay Bennett, for anyone who doesn't know, was leaving Wilco, and that him and Ed Birch were doing a record together.
Yeah, I think Jay kind of was like, I'll do this, these songs that I had worked on for, I don't know how long, some of them, a couple of years, some of them. And he was like, I'm going to do it with this guy, Ed. And Ed was just like, he had, big voice, big character, kind of like almost like a lost kind of guy. But he knew he was an encyclopedia, like just, could pick up a guitar and play like, like a whole Who album and stuff, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how he found Ed. So yeah, that was around 2001.
Sounds right.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was leaving Wilco and doing a thing on his own. And so he hired, Bob Andrews from Undertow
that's the manager.
Got us to be the band, Will and I. So I didn't know Jay. Of course I was a Wilco fan. I mean, not of course. I was a Wilco fan. And I thought Jay had transformed that sound.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the other guys didn't help, obviously. Like, I think John is a genius as well. But, and of course, Jeff. I don't know Jeff. But, yeah. And, Jay Bennett was so good. He was really just an incredible player, and just, he was a little self-destructive at the time, but, yeah, I'm sad that he's not around, but, it was such a good learning experience for me. Just like picking his brain, watching him deconstruct on every instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And his ideas about producing were really smart. He basically, they're the records people love the most still, I think, are those early ones, the Yankee before that, like,
yeah. I feel like if Summer Teeth just hit a thing.
I mean, I love the ones after that too, I know,
yeah.
But Summer Teeth, I mean, obviously being there, I think he started to realize that he could really shape this band in a cool way with Jeff, and John, and everyone else too.
And he did.
And it really, he should get more credit, in my opinion. But
well, here we are giving him credit.
Well, I love it because he
starts
deserves
here.
it. He deserves it. He's and Ed too. I miss Ed, but so that's how that worked.
That show was really, I don't know, huge for me, not only because I liked those guys. That was a, cool introduction to their music, but it was cool to hear you and Will doing something different. Will was playing drums, so I always liked. And then, like, you played a lot of organ, which, again, super cool. And then I think as a songwriter, I don't know why, but like it seemed like they kind of pulled different. Maybe he was just trying to plug in his own songs that fit what they were doing a little better or whatever. And so, or like maybe just leaning into the poppier side a little bit.
Yeah, that was kind of early versions of probably Vultures Await and stuff. So he was probably like, some of those songs are kind of, like almost Lennon, Beatlesy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was a cool time. It was also right before that, we did the stuff with Anders. So you kind of
Varnaline.
Anders Parker, this band Varnaline. And so I started to realize, like, you take all these different shapes, and then other people were like, oh, we should just get Centromatic as the band. And I was like, I was always into that idea. I think Will, was probably careful. Like a couple other people asked us to be in their, and I'm not going to tell you who, but but I just remember like going, oh, that could be cool. And then like, maybe we should just concentrate on being us. But
yeah,
but it was, it was fun being Varnaline.
Yeah. He's great. Those songs are badass.
And I think I'm going to go record with him in
really?
April in New Orleans.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is that where he lives now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Somehow, Matt had identified me as like a tape nerd. And so I have like a collection of mini discs that Matt, like, I intend on getting back to him.
That's a fun medium, the mini disc.
Yeah. I intend on getting them back to him at some point. But there's a Varnaline tape.
Oh, cool.
In there. I didn't know what it was. I'm just, some of them are labeled. They're mainly labeled by date, not so much by, because I just assume they're all you guys, So I remember throwing one on and being like, well, what is this? It's not Will singing, and it's very obviously you guys playing. And then, but a very cool tape. There's a good one of you guys playing at Good Records from way back too. Not Varnaline, but Centromatic thing. So
the original location?
Yeah, Deep Ellum. Yeah.
Right there in Good Latimer or something?
Yeah, right there.
Hence the name.
A high rise. Oh, right. I get it now. I just put that together.
I love those dudes.
Good Records.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That whole family, that whole Polyphonic Tripping Daisy family.
Absolutely.
I miss.
We need to. We're trying to get some of them in here.
Cool.
Mark, Tim. Yeah. We had Poppy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's rad.
Yeah. What'd I do?
Nothing. We had a lull in the conversation. Nice.
Yeah, they're great. Get them in here.
Okay, I will. Maybe I will then, Scott.
You should do that.
Post-Centromatic. What's like? What are you, I mean, I know you made a solo record. Do some things between Sarah Jaffe, I know, and like I guess that's probably around the time I started pulling you into my things. With that, we did that bar band, the first bar band show in 2012. And so yeah, occasionally I'll call you up and go, hey, I have this crazy idea. You have to learn a bunch of songs by X date,
which is always crazy. And God bless you, because it's really a great exercise. Honestly, I love it. I'm so glad you asked me to do those.
The bar band thing is like taking on just a completely amazing life of its own. And yeah, I really love it. I'm glad we do it. It gives us a reason to get together and make music together. It's been really fun.
Yeah, I love it. It's a challenge, and it's the kind of challenge I need. So thank you.
Sure, man. And yeah.
So in between, like, I was at that point, I was still really busy with Sarah. We were, it was started to slow down around, I would say kind of even when Centro stopped, but she was pretty busy, and Centro wasn't that busy from say 10 to 14, like we were still playing and making, albums and stuff, but Candidate Waltz, I think was 11.
Mm-hmm.
And that was second to last. And then the last one, Take Pride. And so I was still pretty busy with Sarah, who was amazing. And so I did Glorified High with her, with John Congleton. And then with Matt, we did an album called Bad Baby. And it's great. It's so good. It's really one of my favorite things I've ever done with Matt.
Don Cento.
He's amazing. I knew Don like the second day I ever got to Denton. He lived on C-Wing, C300. He lived down the hall from me, and he lived with Terry, who I hung out with all the time. And then Don hung out with my roommate, this guy Jerry. But Don, I think I like grabbed Don and was like, "Do you want to go see Fire Hose at this place called Trees?" And we went, and that was like 91. So I've known Don and the whole time. Well, when he was in Chomsky.
Mm-hmm.
Dropping names now.
I know.
Dropping names.
I saw them at a Fry Street Fair on mushrooms.
Nice.
Yeah. It was
How are they on mushrooms?
great.
Yeah. I bet.
Just like everything else. I told Brent this story, but like, I think I was trying to see Polyphonic Spree, but they were sound checking and I could not hang. And so I was like, I'll go. And I like walked to another stage and it was Slobberbone.
Wow.
And I was freaked out and I couldn't handle that. And I finally settled into Chomsky somewhere.
That's funny. That's
like,
the middle ground. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I can do.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, that's
late 90s.
Yeah, I guess so. Probably 98 or 99.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. I think it was the year that Bella Fleck played.
Okay. So that was they started having like this interesting, like large bands, like for a little bit. Like
yeah.
Built Spill, I think I remember. Built Spill and
there was one
there was another one that was some
like 90s band that was like had a big hit or something. I can remember.
But another, again, like a lot of those bands early on, I remember seeing like the Toadies at one of those and Tripping Daisy.
Yeah. But those make sense.
Yeah, like, they're from here. Yeah, you know what I mean? But then those bands became bigger. Slarbone did one, and I think I pushed my amp down the street when I lived at the end of Fry Street.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
I remember that
it was
place.
impossible to like...
park.
Yeah. So I was just like, I think I had this old PV, and I just pushed it down to the end of the block after we played. But those were fun.
Did you get kicked out of Slobberbone because you like Steely Dan?
I saw that your first podcast. I heard this. I hope so.
That's the rumor I heard, and I'm trying to keep spreading it.
Oh man,
because I think it's a great reason to get kicked out of a band.
That's exactly why.
Yeah, I fucking knew
it wasn't. Well, yeah, that's why.
Did you get kicked out?
I got, we had a complicated recording. I didn't know how to record anything. I was pretty young, and we went to Ireland, and they kind of redid Crowpot Pie, and it was just, there was lots of memories of that.
In Memphis?
Nope. Sorry, not Ireland. What's the studio in Austin that's like that?
Oh,
that's Arlen. No, Ardent is the one.
Ardent is the one. Memphis. Is it Arlen in Austin then?
Yeah.
Okay. My mistake.
That's right.
So you went down there to record?
Went down there to record, and I didn't know what to do. I knew what I thought I knew what to do, but now, and I think they want the producer engineer probably wanted a certain thing. He wanted like a rock record, and stuff. And I didn't know how to blend in with that. And, so I think that was like the start of it. And, and then people, I think Brent said it was like democratic. I think people were like, well, let's not make it complicated. I don't think anybody was mad at me necessarily, or there was any, there was a thing that I'd worked, but I talked it over, and now we're close friends, so, and it's funny, after all of that, like I still maintained my friendship with those guys, and I played on, Slippage. That's the last one. And, I played on, so, and I played on their 30-year thing, and it's awesome. Those guys are amazing, and I'm proud of them. I miss Jess, but so, it's funny that after all, and I think Brent always says, well, he got to join Centromatic, and like that's how he felt. I don't think he liked doing it. But yeah, I got kicked out of that band.
Yeah. Was that, and
because of Steely Dan?
Yeah, exactly. Well documented.
I still like Steely Dan, by the way.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's a hot sports opinion. I know some people don't. Yeah. My wife included. She doesn't. I've kind of gotten her more into it. I don't know why that's evolved.
It's not wife music.
It is funny. People are immediately repulsed by it. I always thought it was punk rock. I was like, here's this guy that's like got these sophisticated, like, arrangements. It's cool, like weird noodly guitar. And he's singing like these weird political songs, and the band's named after a vibrator and like a, you know, and Naked Lunch, right?
Mhm.
William Burroughs novel. I was
Yeah.
like, what is that? That's not like,
Yeah, this all
that's
adds
not
up.
easy listening. That's like the finger or something to like the
Yeah.
establishment.
Yeah, this all adds up to awesome.
Yeah. And anyways, so when I hear Green Earrings, I'm like, I'm turning it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All the way.
Yeah.
All the way. That, and was like my timeline on that is, on all that stuff is not great. But was that kind of when Jess was coming in?
Yeah, I think Jess came in a little later, like 97, something like that. Like, and so I was basically out at like 96, I think.
Mm-hmm. But he recorded on that. Did he record on that record as well?
No, Jess
Okay.
wasn't on any of the first one, or not really the second or whatever
Okay.
you want to call it. The reimagined Crow Pot Pie, and
Okay.
then like I don't think he was on the next one. He was on Everything You Thought Was Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Someday I'll get this straight.
I know. I mean, but yeah, I miss Jess terribly. Like,
Oh my God.
It really hurts.
Yeah.
I think about him all the time.
Yeah, I do too. I'm about to go back to Twilight, and play a show.
Cool.
I tried not to. I didn't want to go to Deep Ellum.
Oh yeah.
And then I don't know, man.
Deep Ellum's hard nowadays. It's weird.
Like I know they'll have a cool bartender. I know there will be friendly people there, but like the whole I don't know. It's a lot I don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
And like not seeing Jess is one of the things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's nothing like having having him behind that bar and it'd be busy, and like say something kind of like maybe be like looking down, kind of doing something, and I would like say something kind of fucking with him and like watch him kind of stop and then like look up and make eye contact, and then, you know, kind of like kind of a little bit like, are you fucking with me?
He is. He was so funny and yet so kind of poignant. Like he would like, you know, there's so many times where I'd be like, I wish I could write that down. Like, you know, he was, and that's kind of the way he played guitar too.
Yeah.
And I think he had more to say, and he was, you know, getting ready to say it, and just whatever. Defective heart.
Yeah, well, it's up to us now.
Yeah.
We got to carry it on. But yeah, he was in the moment. I'll say that. I love hearing Brent talk about him. Like Brent telling stories about him, you know, effectively, you know, kind of quitting nightly.
You know, he was I don't remember that much. I mean, like it would be kind of fun again, like kind of funny drama, like, oh, I was terrible or whatever, you know, and you know, like, yeah, he was always his work is, you know, even, but I don't remember kind of bringing Buddy down. It was more of like but you know, I didn't.
It's all about him. Never anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it was like, yeah, but yeah, oh my gosh, I had so much fun in Europe with them. One time one time in Europe, I actually did get him banned from a hotel room because I had the one thing with jet lag and me, and like jet lag like 2 or 3 days later, and any sort of alcohol, no, it's a no-go.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn that a few times. And one of those times was yeah. And that's another story Brent is fond about.
Sure.
Me.
Don't blame Slobberbone. Blame Steely Dan.
Yeah, Steely Dan, and getting out of. But that was it was great. I loved it.
So, you gonna make another record? Did I hear you promise that?
You know, I definitely will make another one of these things. You know, it was really fun to unlock some of that. You know, whatever that is, just like this idea of like. With my, you know, I've always played with other people's, like had confident, you know, like their own voice, not just in like their voice, but just like how they approach the music. And so that like once you kind of cross that barrier, it's I feel like it, I feel like that was the hardest part. And so now, and there's no expectations because no one really cared about it. So it's like, it's great. So like I can just go and do another one and it'll be great. And I kind of just feel like I owe one with Britton just because we had such a good time doing this one. And his place is great. So
he does
if
good
he'll
work.
have me back.
Yeah. The
if he'll have me back, I'll schedule it. It'd be fun to do like a 10-year cycle with him. Every 10 years I have to do this.
Yeah, it seems like he's kind of tuned into a cool like group of musicians down there with like the Lindsey Verrill and the like. I went to,
those people are amazing.
Yeah,
Jeff from what was his band before? The Little Captain Travis.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, Britt, he attracts cool people.
And the Monaghan's band, all those guys are stupid good.
Yeah. Well, do it. Yeah, and come back, tell some more stories.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Cheers. I feel scratched from the handshake deal. Slow down on this turn. Burned out completely, something you earn. You had a light around you, light of hope, something to find. You told me to see it, me to feel it, find something to find, find something to find. Strange to watch time die, a funeral of numbers, seconds fly. I passed out in the show, slowing momentum, I know. But you had a light around you, a light of hope, something to find. You had a simple message. Look at the light, find something to find, find something to find. You had a light around you, light of hope, something to find. You told me to see it, me to feel it, find something to find, find something to find. Oh, yeah.
Thanks for watching this episode of Highland Soundtracks. If you believe in what we're doing, showcasing local and national artists, please subscribe to our channel and help keep the music alive.